Imagine spending 40 years of your life working, paying taxes every single month, being told, don't worry, the government has you covered when you retire. And then, one morning, you open your bank account and your check is 23% smaller than expected. No warning, no choice, just less. That's not a hypothetical. That is what the Congressional Budget Office, the official number crunchers for the U.S. government, is now projecting will happen in 2032, just 6 years from now. And the scariest part? Most people have absolutely no idea this is coming. Let's talk about Social Security. If you're not American, stay with me because your country has its own version of this, and the lesson here applies to everyone. Social Security is basically a government promise. You work, you pay into it, and when you retire, you get a monthly check to live on. Sounds simple, right? Here's the problem nobody talks about at dinner. The system was designed in 1935 when the average American died at 61. People weren't even expected to collect retirement benefits. It was basically life insurance. Today, Americans are living into their 80s. The baby boomer generation, 76 million people, is retiring at a rate of 10,000 people per day. And there aren't enough young workers replacing them to keep the money flowing in. The math has quietly broken. Here's where it gets real. Right now, the Social Security Trust Fund, the reserve pool that covers the gap between what comes in and what goes out, is being drained every single year. The Congressional Budget Office just updated their forecast in 2026. The trust fund runs out in 2032. That's 1 year sooner than they thought just last year. And every year the deadline moves closer, not further away. Now here's what most people get wrong, and this is the psychology part that blew my mind. Research from Cornell University found that when people hear the words trust fund depleted, 64% of them immediately think Social Security disappears entirely. Zero. Gone. But that's not what happens. Payroll taxes keep coming in from working Americans. The system doesn't shut down. What happens is simpler and in some ways scarier. Benefits get automatically cut by 23%. A typical retiree getting $2,400 a month suddenly gets $1,850. That's $550 gone every month, $6,600 a year. For someone living on a fixed income, that's the difference between paying rent and not. So why is the deadline moving up? 3 reasons, and they all hit at the same time. 1. A new law called the One Big Beautiful Bill, signed in 2025, cut taxes in a way that reduced the revenue flowing into Social Security by roughly $30 billion per year. Less money coming in, same amount going out. 2. Inflation. When prices go up, retiree benefits get adjusted upward automatically. It's called a cost of living adjustment. The CBO is projecting a 3.1% adjustment for 2027. That sounds helpful for retirees, but it pulls money out of the trust fund faster. 3. The economy slowed down. Slower growth means fewer people working, which means fewer payroll taxes, which means less money going into the system. 3 problems all at once. The deadline didn't drift, it got yanked forward. Here's what I find most fascinating about this whole situation, and it's deeply psychological. The system isn't collapsing because nobody knew about the problem. Economists have been warning about this since the 1990s. Congress has known for decades. So why hasn't it been fixed? Because of something called present bias. It's a well-documented psychological phenomenon where humans consistently prioritize what feels urgent right now over what matters most in the future. A politician running for re-election in 2 years has zero incentive to make painful decisions raising taxes, cutting benefits that might save a system 10 years from now. The voters who'd benefit from the fix won't thank them, but the voters who feel the short-term pain absolutely will punish them. So decade after decade, they delay, they debate, they form committees, and the clock keeps ticking. This is the same psychology that makes people not save for retirement until they're 40s, the same psychology that makes people spend today and worry about debt tomorrow. The problem isn't that people are stupid. It's that human brains are genuinely wired to undervalue the future, and entire governments are run by human brains. So, what do you actually do with this information? First, don't panic. The system won't go to zero. Social Security will still exist. But if you're under 65 and building your retirement plan around full government benefits, you are taking a risk. Here's how smart people are thinking about it. If you're in your 20s or 30s, you have time. which is the most powerful financial tool in existence. Start building a retirement cushion outside of government systems. A 401k, an IRA, index funds, anything that compounds over time. Don't count on the government check being full. If you're in your 40s or 50s, the window is tighter, but it's not closed. The key shift is this. Stop thinking of Social Security as your retirement plan and start thinking of it as a bonus. Build your plan without it. If it shows up in full, great. If it's 23% smaller, you're still okay. If you're already retired or close to it, ironically, you're the least affected. The cuts would hit future projections hardest, but it's still worth watching, because if the political pressure gets bad enough, Congress will act they always do when millions of voters are directly impacted. The last time Social Security almost collapsed was 1983. It was literally months from insolvency, and at the last minute, a bipartisan deal was struck. They raised the retirement age. They taxed benefits. It wasn't pretty, but it worked. The question is whether Washington can do it again before 2032. If this video made you think, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want to understand more about how money, psychology, and power actually work, you know where to find me. See you in the next one.